Behind the gilded gates of Buckingham Palace, a betrayal unfolded so devastating it threatened to fracture the very foundation of the British monarchy. Whispers echoed through candlelit corridors, sealed envelopes vanished, and loyalties were tested. As King Charles and Duchess Sophie faced an unprecedented crisis, one palace aide's shocking act ignited a storm of secrecy, power, and survival that would shake the crown to its core. The morning began as it always had, quiet, dignified, and steeped in centuries of ritual, but beneath the surface, unease stirred like a gathering storm. King Charles, newly burdened with the full weight of sovereignty, stood at the helm of a monarchy navigating a fragile modern era. His reign, marked by both reverence and scrutiny, demanded stability, unity, and unwavering loyalty. Yet within the palace's ancient walls, loyalty had begun to fray, and the silence that once symbolized order now concealed a rising tide of uncertainty. At his side stood Duchess Sophie, composed and resolute, her presence both steadying and enigmatic. Long regarded as a quiet figure within royal circles, she had emerged as one of the king's most trusted confidants, as an anchor of discretion in an institution defined by secrecy. Her calm demeanor masked a keen intuition and a fierce devotion to the crown, qualities that would soon place her at the center of a crisis neither she nor the monarchy could ignore. Then came the rupture. A sudden and unexplained breach shattered the palace's carefully guarded serenity. Internal protocols tightened without warning, corridors fell silent, and doors once open in ceremonial grace were closed with urgent finality. Staff members spoke in hushed tones, their glances heavy with suspicion. A palace lockdown, unprecedented in its secrecy, signaled that something had gone terribly wrong, something that could not be allowed to reach the world beyond the gates. Rumors seeped into the air like shadows. Anonymous sources whispered of a trusted aide whose loyalty had collapsed under mysterious circumstances, unleashing a betrayal so devastating it threatened the crown itself. Documents were rumored to be missing, communications intercepted, and secrets long buried beneath the weight of tradition, suddenly vulnerable. Each revelation deepened the sense of dread, tightening its grip around the royal household. As uncertainty mounted, speculation turned toward an extraordinary response. Insiders hinted at a joint statement, an unprecedented act of unity between King Charles and Duchess Sophie, crafted to confront the unfolding scandal with solemn authority. The mere suggestion of such a declaration sent ripples through the corridors of power, signaling that the crisis was not merely administrative, but profoundly personal. The crown, it seemed, was preparing to face an unseen adversary from within. The emotional stakes were immense. Loyalty, once assumed, now demanded proof. Duty weighed heavily upon the king's shoulders, its burden sharpened by betrayal. For Sophie, the crisis stirred a silent turmoil and unspoken resolve to protect both the monarch and the institution she had pledged to serve. Together they stood on the precipice of revelation, bound by trust and shadowed by uncertainty. And at the center of it all lay a secret and elusive document whispered about in guarded conversations, its contents said to hold the power to shatter reputations and redefine the monarchy's future. As whispers of treachery spread through the palace halls, attention turned to the woman who stood quietly beside the King, Duchess Sophie. Often overlooked yet unwaveringly loyal, Duchess Sophie emerged from the shadows as the monarchy's most formidable ally. But beneath her poised exterior lay a strategist shaped by resilience, sacrifice, and silent influence. As the palace crisis deepened, insiders revealed that Sophie was not merely a supportive figure, she was the crown's most trusted guardian, prepared to confront betrayal head-on, no matter the personal cost. For years, she had walked the corridors of royalty with quiet grace, her presence steady yet rarely celebrated. While others commanded headlines, Sophie cultivated influence through discretion, earning trust not through spectacle, but through unwavering dedication. Her ascent was not forged in ambition, but in loyalty, a loyalty that gradually drew her into the inner sanctum of royal decision-making. In a world where power often spoke loudly, she mastered the art of silence, and in that silence, authority took root. Her bond with King Charles was unlike any other within the royal household. It was not built on ceremony or tradition alone, but on mutual understanding, shared burdens, and an unspoken pact of trust. Through moments of uncertainty and quiet counsel, Sophie became more than a supportive presence. She became a confidante whose insight steadied the monarch amid mounting pressures. In the turbulence of a modern monarchy, where public scrutiny was relentless and expectations unyielding, her discretion became indispensable, a shield against chaos and a compass in times of doubt. Yet her devotion carried an emotional cost. Beneath her composed exterior lay a profound sense of duty, one that demanded sacrifice without recognition. She bore the weight of loyalty in silence, navigating the delicate balance between personal anguish and royal responsibility. Insiders whispered of late-night consultations and urgent deliberations, of her steady voice guiding decisions when uncertainty threatened to fracture the crown's resolve. While the public saw only composure, those within the palace understood her true authority, a quiet force, shaping the monarchy's survival. The contrast between perception and reality deepened as the crisis unfolded. To the world, Sophie remained a figure of gentle dignity, her calm demeanor an emblem of stability. But within palace walls, she wielded influence with precision and resolve, entrusted with matters too sensitive for public knowledge. In the wake of the mysterious breach, her presence grew even more significant. Her counsel sought in hushed conversations, where every word carried consequence. Each step she took was measured, every expression carefully controlled, even as tension tightened its grip on the royal household. Still, whispers persisted, subtle hints that Sophie possessed knowledge others did not. There were murmurs of confidential briefings and veiled warnings, of secrets entrusted to her long before the betrayal surfaced. Her serenity, once admired, now stirred intrigue, suggesting an awareness shaped by foresight rather than surprise. Was her composure the result of strength alone, or had she sensed the approaching storm long before it broke? The question lingered, unanswered yet impossible to ignore. In the quiet gravity of her resolve, Sophie became both guardian and witness, her loyalty tested as never before. The monarchy leaned upon her strength, even as unseen forces gathered in the shadows, waiting for the moment to strike. And as she steadied the crown with unwavering poise, a shadowy figure within palace walls prepared to unleash a betrayal that would change everything. In the heart of the palace, where loyalty is sacred and discretion is absolute, one trusted aide crossed an unforgivable line. Once celebrated for unwavering devotion, this insider held secrets capable of toppling reputations and destabilizing the monarchy itself. But what drove such a devastating betrayal, and how long had the deception remained hidden behind polished smiles and ceremonial protocol? The aide had once been a figure of quiet reliability, a presence so trusted that their footsteps passed unnoticed through the most guarded corridors of royal power. Discreet, diligent, and deeply embedded within the palace hierarchy, they occupied a position where silence was currency and loyalty was law. To King Charles, they were dependable. To Duchess Sophie, they were familiar and unassuming, a fixture within the intricate machinery that sustained the crown. Their access was unparalleled, their reputation impeccable, and their proximity to the monarchy's most sensitive affairs unquestioned. It was precisely this trust that made the betrayal not only shocking, but unthinkable. Gradually, subtle irregularities began to surface, whispers of misplaced documents, delayed communications, and confidential exchanges that seemed to vanish without explanation. At first, they were dismissed as administrative errors, the inevitable imperfections of an institution burdened by tradition and complexity. But as anomalies accumulated, unease crept into the highest levels of palace authority. Messages surfaced where none should have existed. Private correspondence appeared compromised. The invisible boundaries protecting royal secrecy began to fracture, and suspicion, once inconceivable, took root among senior officials. The atmosphere within the royal household shifted with chilling precision. Conversations grew guarded, alliances strained, and glances lingered with unspoken doubt. The emotional fallout was swift and profound. Trust, once assumed, became fragile. Loyalty, once unwavering, demanded proof. For King Charles, the revelation struck with quiet devastation, challenging the very foundation of his reign. For Duchess Sophie, whose instincts had long sensed an approaching storm, the betrayal confirmed her deepest fears, intensifying her resolve even as it weighed heavily upon her conscience. Speculation spread like wildfire through the palace's inner circle. Was the motive ambition an audacious grasp for influence cloaked in secrecy? Was it revenge born of grievances long concealed beneath formal decorum? Or was the Aide merely a pawn, coerced by forces lurking beyond the palace walls? Each possibility deepened the intrigue, casting shadows across every whispered conversation and heightening the sense of impending crisis. The truth, elusive and dangerous, seemed always just beyond reach. Rumors spoke of clandestine meetings conducted in hushed secrecy, of coded exchanges and veiled intentions unfolding beneath the fade of ceremonial duty. Though few dared to speak openly, the tension was unmistakable. Every revelation added another layer to the unfolding drama, drawing the monarchy ever closer to a reckoning that could no longer be postponed. Suspicion hardened into certainty, and certainty into alarm. The moment of exposure arrived not with spectacle, but with chilling clarity. Evidence emerged undeniable, irrefutable, shattering the illusion of loyalty that had long shielded the Aide. The discovery ignited a silent shockwave through the palace, triggering emergency protocols and sealing corridors once defined by tradition and trust. In an instant, the monarchy faced an internal crisis unlike any in recent memory, its sanctity pierced by betrayal from within. As the truth surfaced, the palace descended into secrecy, setting the stage for an unprecedented internal crisis. With the betrayal exposed, Buckingham Palace sealed its gates in a silent lockdown. Corridors once filled with ceremonial grace became corridors of suspicion, and every whisper carried the weight of treachery. Behind closed doors, senior royals convened in secrecy as investigators raced against time, desperate to contain a scandal that threatened to erupt into global humiliation. The transformation was immediate and absolute. An institution defined by tradition and composure tightened its defenses with chilling precision, as though centuries of protocol had anticipated this very moment. Access was restricted without explanation, communications were monitored, and every movement within the palace walls fell under quiet scrutiny. What had once symbolized stability now pulsed with unease. Silence lingered in place of ceremony, and trust, once the crown's greatest shield, became its most fragile vulnerability. At the heart of the crisis, King Charles convened a series of urgent consultations with Duchess Sophie and his most trusted advisors. Their discussions were measured yet urgent, burdened by the gravity of betrayal and the consequences it threatened to unleash. Each decision carried historic weight, each word carefully chosen, for the monarchy stood not merely on the brink of scandal, but on the precipice of reputational collapse. Sophie's voice, calm and resolute, guided the deliberations with quiet authority, her counsel shaping a response that demanded both strength and restraint. Beyond those guarded chambers, uncertainty spread like a shadow across the royal household. Staff members, once bound by unquestioned loyalty, found themselves navigating an atmosphere thick with suspicion. Conversations fell silent at the sound of approaching footsteps. Familiar faces seemed suddenly unfamiliar, and long-standing alliances trembled beneath the strain of doubt. Paranoia seeped into every corner, eroding the sense of unity that had sustained the monarchy for generations. The emotional toll was profound. For King Charles, the betrayal struck at the very core of his reign, challenging the trust upon which his leadership depended. For Sophie, the burden was deeply personal, her steadfast loyalty tested by the knowledge that treachery had flourished within the institution she had sworn to protect. The crown, long perceived as unshakable, now felt painfully human, vulnerable, wounded, and struggling to endure under the weight of revelation. Meanwhile, investigators worked tirelessly to recover what had been compromised. Missing documents became objects of urgent pursuit, their contents rumored to hold consequences capable of altering history. Unauthorized communications were scrutinized, and every fragment of evidence was examined with relentless determination. Each discovery heightened the sense of peril, drawing the monarchy deeper into a crisis that refused to be contained. Outside the palace walls, speculation intensified. Rumors spread through media channels with unstoppable force, igniting global fascination and fueling relentless scrutiny. Questions multiplied, theories flourished, and anticipation mounted as the world demanded answers from an institution known for its silence. The pressure was suffocating, closing in on the monarchy with unyielding persistence. Amid the turmoil, whispers of an extraordinary response began to surface. Insiders spoke of a joint statement and unprecedented declaration of unity from King Charles and Duchess Sophie, crafted to confront the scandal with solemn authority. The very notion signaled the magnitude of the crisis, foreshadowing a decision that would reverberate far beyond palace walls. Tension escalated with each passing hour, the monarchy edging closer to a moment of reckoning. Every revelation tightened the grip of uncertainty, and every silence deepened the mystery. As pressure mounted and rumors spiraled beyond control, the monarchy faced a defining moment that demanded a unified response. In a rare and unprecedented move, King Charles and Duchess Sophie emerged together to issue a joint statement that sent shockwaves across the globe. Their solemn words revealed not only the depth of betrayal, but also the unwavering unity of the crown. As the world watched in disbelief, the monarchy confronted its greatest internal crisis with dignity, resolve, and unyielding strength. The announcement carried a gravity seldom witnessed in modern royal history. For generations, the crown had spoken with measured restraint, its silence often as powerful as its proclamations. Yet this moment demanded something extraordinary. Side by side, King Charles and Duchess Sophie stood as symbols of continuity and defiance, their presence alone signaling that the crisis had reached an unprecedented scale. The monarchy, wounded but unbroken, had chosen transparency over silence, a decision that resonated far beyond palace walls. Their words were deliberate, precise, and imbued with solemn authority. Each phrase was crafted to reassure a watching world, while confronting the shadow of betrayal that had pierced the institution's sanctity. The statement spoke of loyalty, duty, and resilience, timeless principles that defined the crown's enduring identity. Yet beneath its formal cadence lay an unmistakable message: the monarchy had been tested, but it would not falter. The unity displayed by Charles and Sophie was more than symbolic, it was a declaration of strength forged in adversity. The unprecedented nature of their joint appearance deepened its impact. Rarely had a monarch and a royal confidante addressed a crisis together in such a unified manner. It was a gesture rich with meaning, elevating Sophie's role from trusted advisor to steadfast guardian of the crown. Her composure conveyed unwavering resolve, while the king's measured authority reflected both burden and determination. Together, they embodied a monarchy that refused to fracture, even as it confronted betrayal from within. Public reaction was immediate and electrifying. Across the globe, audiences responded with a mixture of shock, sympathy, and fascination. Admirers praised the display of unity, viewing it as a testament to the monarchy's resilience. Critics, however, questioned the depth of the crisis, speculating about the secrets that had necessitated such an extraordinary declaration. The joint statement ignited a tidal wave of intrigue, drawing the world into a narrative of loyalty, betrayal, and survival. Media coverage intensified with relentless fervor. Headlines reverberated across continents, dissecting every word and gesture, analyzing subtle inflections and hidden meanings. Commentators debated the implications, while historians reflected on the rarity of such a public demonstration of solidarity. The monarchy, once shielded by tradition, now stood at the epicenter of a global spectacle, its response scrutinized with unyielding intensity. Within the carefully chosen language of the statement lay veiled references to treachery and trust. There were acknowledgments of loyalty tested and duty upheld, phrases that hinted at deeper fractures beneath the surface. Observers sensed that the declaration, powerful as it was, revealed only part of the truth. Its solemn tone suggested that the betrayal extended further than publicly disclosed, casting shadows that lingered beyond the words themselves. As the statement echoed across the world, international leaders and institutions responded with formal expressions of support, underscoring the monarchy's enduring global influence. Yet amid the chorus of reassurance, a quiet tension remained. The unity of King Charles and Duchess Sophie had steadied the crown, but it had also raised profound questions about the forces that had threatened it. Their declaration stood as a moment of historic significance, an emblem of resilience, forged in the crucible of crisis. Yet even as the world absorbed their powerful words, an undercurrent of mystery persisted, suggesting that the full truth had yet to emerge. For beneath the dignity and resolve lay secrets still concealed, waiting to be uncovered. And even as the world absorbed their powerful declaration, questions lingered: what secrets lay hidden behind the carefully chosen words? Beneath the grandeur of royal ceremonies lies a labyrinth of secrets, alliances forged in silence and rivalries buried beneath tradition. As investigators peeled back the layers of the betrayal, startling revelations emerged, hinting at hidden tensions and long-guarded confidences within the monarchy. What began as a single act of treachery soon exposed a web of intrigue that threatened to unravel the palace's most sacred bonds. The deeper the inquiry reached, the more the palace revealed itself as a world governed not only by protocol, but by subtle power struggles and unspoken allegiances. Within its ancient walls, loyalty was both shield and currency, exchanged in whispers and guarded through generations. Advisors navigated delicate hierarchies, and influence moved quietly beneath the surface, shaping decisions that would never be recorded in public history. Now, under the pressure of betrayal, these hidden dynamics surfaced with startling clarity, exposing fractures long concealed beneath ceremonial unity. Confidential communications, once safeguarded by unwavering trust, began to surface as fragments of a larger, more troubling narrative. Letters, encrypted messages, and private exchanges hinted at alliances formed in secrecy and loyalties tested by ambition. Each revelation deepened the mystery, suggesting that the betrayal was not an isolated act, but part of a broader constellation of intrigue. Senior officials found themselves confronting uncomfortable truths, their composure strained as the magnitude of the scandal unfolded before them. Within the royal household, the emotional toll was profound. Long-standing confidences trembled under suspicion, and relationships forged through years of service were suddenly cast into doubt. The atmosphere grew heavy with uncertainty, each revelation igniting a new wave of unease. For King Charles, the scandal struck at the very heart of his reign, challenging his faith in those entrusted with safeguarding the crown. For Duchess Sophie, the crisis became both personal and defining, her loyalty unwavering even as the institution she protected seemed to shift beneath her feet. Speculation spread with relentless intensity. Whispers of undisclosed secrets echoed through private corridors and guarded chambers, suggesting that the betrayal might conceal deeper motives yet to be revealed. Some spoke of rivalries buried in silence, others of ambitions nurtured in the shadows. Each rumor, whether substantiated or imagined, intensified the sense of impending revelation, hinting at truths too destabilizing to confront openly. The monarchy, once perceived as unassailable, now stood vulnerable to forces both internal and unseen. Amid this turbulence, Sophie's role emerged with striking clarity. More than a confidante, she became the quiet guardian of continuity, entrusted with preserving the monarchy's integrity as suspicion threatened to erode its foundations. Her calm authority steadied the institution, her counsel guiding the king through uncertainty with unwavering resolve. Yet beneath her composed exterior lay a silent burden, the knowledge that safeguarding the crown required navigating secrets that could never be spoken aloud. As the implications of the betrayal deepened, tension intensified with each passing revelation. Tradition collided with modern scrutiny, exposing the monarchy to a world less willing to accept silence as strength. The enduring rituals of royalty, once symbols of stability, now stood in stark contrast to the unfolding scandal, their dignity shadowed by whispers of intrigue. The collision between heritage and transparency revealed a monarchy caught between preserving its mystique and confronting its most perilous truth. And beneath it all lingered a haunting suggestion that the betrayal had merely exposed the surface of a far more devastating reality. The deeper investigators delved, the more elusive the truth became, as though hidden behind layers of loyalty and fear. Each discovery hinted at a secret still concealed, one capable of reshaping perceptions of the crown and redefining its legacy. As the scandal intensified, the world's attention turned outward, where media scrutiny threatened to amplify the monarchy's darkest hour. Within hours, the betrayal dominated global headlines, igniting a relentless media storm that engulfed the monarchy. Commentators speculated, critics condemned, and supporters rallied in defense of the crown. As public opinion shifted with every revelation, the palace faced an unprecedented battle not only for its reputation, but for its very relevance in a modern world captivated by scandal and spectacle. The world watched with breathless fascination as the story spread like wildfire across continents, each headline more sensational than the last. Newspapers proclaimed crisis within the crown, broadcasters dissected every development with urgent intensity, and digital platforms transformed speculation into a global conversation. The joint statement from King Charles and Duchess Sophie, intended to steady the institution, instead ignited a storm of analysis and intrigue. Every word was scrutinized, every pause interpreted, every nuance debated as the monarchy stood exposed to the unrelenting gaze of a modern, unforgiving audience. Public reaction surged with emotional force. For some, outrage simmered beneath a sense of disbelief, their faith in the monarchy shaken by the revelation of betrayal within its sacred walls. For others, loyalty burned brighter than ever, transforming uncertainty into steadfast support for a crown perceived as wounded yet resolute. Across nations and cultures, voices rose in passionate debate, reflecting the enduring fascination and divisive power of royal legacy. The monarchy, long revered as a symbol of continuity, found itself at the center of a global reckoning. Social media intensified the frenzy, amplifying rumors and theories with dizzying speed. Speculation flourished in digital corridors, where whispers evolved into narratives and conjecture masqueraded as truth. Hashtags surged, debates erupted, and the betrayal became a spectacle consumed in real time by millions. Every fragment of information, confirmed or otherwise, fueled an insatiable appetite for revelation, tightening the pressure upon the palace with each passing moment. Royal commentators and historians stepped forward, offering analysis layered with intrigue and gravitas. They dissected the unprecedented joint statement, exploring its symbolism and questioning its implications. Some praised the unity of King Charles and Duchess Sophie as a masterstroke of resilience. Others speculated about deeper fractures concealed beneath their composed declaration. Emotional interviews and expert reflections deepened the narrative, weaving history, tradition, and crisis into a compelling tapestry of loyalty and survival. Amid the clamor, pressure mounted upon the monarchy to demonstrate transparency in a world increasingly skeptical of silence. The institution, bound by centuries of tradition, faced a modern audience demanding answers. Each response or absence of one became a point of contention, intensifying scrutiny and heightening anticipation. The crown, once shielded by mystique, now navigated the perilous intersection of heritage and accountability. Yet within the storm, sympathy began to emerge. Observers noted the measured resolve of King Charles, his composure reflecting both burden and determination. Duchess Sophie's steadfast presence resonated deeply, her quiet strength transforming public perception and earning admiration across the globe. Together, they appeared not merely as figures of authority, but as human symbols of resilience confronting betrayal with dignity and courage. As speculation reached fever pitch, anticipation grew for the inevitable fallout within palace ranks. Questions lingered, unanswered and unsettling. What consequences would follow? How deeply had the betrayal penetrated the institution's foundations? The world waited, captivated and restless, sensing that the scandal had not yet reached its final revelation. As the storm raged beyond palace walls, the true consequences of betrayal began to unfold within the royal household itself. Betrayal leaves scars no crown can conceal. In the aftermath of the palace aide's devastating treachery, loyalties were tested, reputations shattered, and relationships forever altered. As King Charles and Duchess Sophie confronted the emotional toll of the crisis, the monarchy faced a reckoning, one that demanded resilience, redemption, and an unwavering commitment to duty in the face of unimaginable adversity. The weight of betrayal settled heavily upon the crown, pressing against its ancient traditions with an intensity that could not be ignored. For King Charles, the revelation was deeply personal, a quiet wound carried behind composed dignity. Trust, once given without hesitation, had been fractured from within the very institution he had sworn to protect. His resolve remained unshaken, yet beneath the solemn authority lay a profound sense of disappointment, a monarch confronting the painful reality that loyalty, even within the palace, was never absolute. Beside him, Duchess Sophie bore the crisis with steadfast strength, her composure a testament to her devotion. Yet the emotional toll was undeniable. She had stood as guardian and confidante, navigating the shadows of secrecy with unwavering loyalty, and the betrayal struck not only at the monarchy but at her own sense of trust. In private reflection, her resolve hardened, transforming sorrow into determination. The crown would endure, she believed, not through silence alone, but through unity, resilience, and the courage to confront its darkest trials. Within the palace walls, change unfolded with quiet precision. Internal restructuring began, reshaping the very fabric of royal service. Positions were reassessed, protocols strengthened, and loyalties reaffirmed in an effort to restore confidence and stability. Each decision carried symbolic weight, signaling that the monarchy would not be weakened by treachery, but fortified by its lessons. The fall of the disgraced Aide became a stark reminder of accountability, a cautionary tale etched into the institution's collective memory. Amid the upheaval, gestures of unity emerged with powerful resonance. Acts of reconciliation, both subtle and profound, reflected a renewed commitment to trust and continuity. These moments, though understated, carried emotional significance, reaffirming the monarchy's enduring purpose. For King Charles and Duchess Sophie, their partnership deepened through adversity, their bond strengthened by shared trials and unspoken understanding. Together, they embodied a resilience forged in hardship, standing not merely as figures of authority, but as symbols of perseverance. The public, once consumed by speculation, began to witness a monarchy transformed by its ordeal. Sympathy grew, admiration replaced uncertainty, and the crown's ability to withstand betrayal inspired renewed respect. Observers saw not fragility but fortitude, a testament to the enduring power of duty and the human strength that sustained it. The narrative of scandal gradually gave way to one of redemption, as the monarchy emerged steadied by resolve and unified in purpose. Yet the downfall of the palace Aide lingered as a haunting symbol of the crisis. Their fall from grace served as both warning and lesson, a reminder that even within the most revered institutions, trust must be safeguarded with vigilance. The echoes of their betrayal reverberated through the palace, shaping decisions and strengthening the monarchy's commitment to integrity. As calm slowly returned, a renewed trust flourished between King Charles and Duchess Sophie, their alliance tested and proven unbreakable. The crown, though scarred, stood resolute, its future reshaped by adversity, and its legacy strengthened through resilience. Yet beneath the surface of recovery, a quiet anticipation stirred, hinting that the story was not yet complete. For as the monarchy emerged from its darkest hour, a final revelation promised to redefine its legacy forever. From betrayal's ashes, a new chapter of royal history emerged, one defined not by scandal, but by resilience and unity. As King Charles and Duchess Sophie stood resolute beneath the weight of the crown, their joint statement became more than a response. It became a symbol of strength. In the face of treachery and turmoil, the monarchy proved its enduring power, leaving an indelible mark on history and the hearts of millions. In the quiet aftermath of upheaval, the monarchy found itself transformed, tempered by adversity yet strengthened by survival. The betrayal that once threatened to fracture its foundations had instead revealed the enduring spirit at its core. King Charles, burdened yet unyielding, emerged as a monarch defined not merely by tradition, but by resilience forged in crisis. His leadership, tested in the crucible of uncertainty, reflected a profound commitment to duty, a steadfast resolve to guide the crown through turmoil and into a future shaped by courage and continuity. At his side, Duchess Sophie's legacy took on new brilliance. Once a figure of quiet devotion, she had risen as a guardian of stability, her unwavering loyalty becoming a cornerstone of the monarchy's endurance. Through adversity, she embodied dignity and strength, her influence subtle yet transformative. In the eyes of the public, her composure and resolve redefined her place within royal history, elevating her from trusted confidante to enduring symbol of loyalty. Together, Charles and Sophie stood not merely as figures of authority, but as living embodiments of unity, proof that the crown's greatest strength lay not in ceremony, but in the unbreakable bonds of trust. The joint statement that once reverberated across the world assumed an enduring significance, etched into the narrative of modern monarchy as a moment of rare and powerful solidarity. It was more than a declaration, it was a promise, a vow that the crown would confront betrayal not with silence, but with dignity and resolve. Its echoes reshaped public perception, transforming skepticism into admiration and uncertainty into renewed respect. The monarchy, once shadowed by scandal, emerged renewed, its image restored by the very crisis that had threatened its survival. Across nations and generations, the story of resilience resonated deeply. The public witnessed not an institution diminished, but one reborn steadfast in tradition, yet responsive to the demands of a changing world. The symbolism of unity and continuity shone with renewed clarity, bridging the past and the present in a narrative of endurance. The crown, long a beacon of heritage, proved its timeless relevance, reminding the world that even the oldest institutions could evolve without surrendering their essence. In this defining chapter, loyalty triumphed over treachery, and unity prevailed over division. The monarchy's survival was not merely a testament to its history, but a declaration of its future, a future guided by courage, shaped by sacrifice, and sustained by unwavering purpose. The emotional legacy of the crisis lingered, not as a wound, but as a reminder of strength discovered in adversity and honor preserved through steadfast devotion. As the palace doors close once more and history turns its page, one truth endures: the crown may be tested by betrayal, but it is forged anew through unity and unbreakable resolve.